Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and today we're going to review a scope, and we're going to go to the range and try it out. Now, you've seen previously I've bought two of these CVLife scopes, and and used them, and I liked them a lot. And I guess the guys at CVLife saw one of my videos, and they decided to send me a scope to do a review on. So this time around, I didn't buy this one. They gave me this one, so that's your disclosure there that this is sort of a sponsored product. And this is an unusual little scope. It's a 2.5 to 10 by 40, and it's got an E after it. I'm not sure what the E stands for unless it's for all the electronics on it. But it's a rifle scope for hunting and such as that. And I know a lot of people hunt with a 3 to 9 power scope because they say you don't need anything more for a deer or whatever, and that's fine. I know that I used to get the really high powered stuff, 40 time magnification or better if I can, and so this will be kind of new for me for the review. But we're going to take it out of the box here, and we're going to look it over, and after we get through, we'll get a rifle and we'll mount it on it, and then we'll take it to the range. Alright, this is the box that comes in here. It says CVLife on it. It's got the tag on the end, sort of telling what it is, but not a lot of clues. We're going to open it up. Here we've got a card from CVLife for you to contact them with if you have any problems. Got a lens cleaning cloth. Got a bunch of batteries because this thing is, got the illuminated reticles, and it's got a laser. I didn't mention that, did I? And let's see. And it comes with a one-piece mount, which is one that I really prefer, this kind of mount. It's got a little Allen wrench in there and all the pieces for it. We'll see it when we mount it on the rifle. And here's the scope. It comes in a nice soft padded box, which should keep it safe during shipping. Let's pull the plastic off here and get a look at it. There you go. So it comes with nice lens covers. In fact, I think it's a pretty nice looking scope there. Let me put my cheaters on so I can see better, and let's look it over really close up. It's already got one scope mount on it, and it's got this scope mount. I'm thinking that they're for two different widths of mounts. One of these will fit on a 22, and probably the other one fits the larger rails that you see on AR-15s and such. And maybe can get you a look down through the middle of it once I get batteries in it. It takes a large battery out here in this for the reticle. Pretty sure this is one for the reticle. It's one of those CR 2032 batteries that just about everything in the world uses. And see if I can get it out of the package. There. Now all I got to do is figure out which way they want the plus side. I think that's going to be it right there. Alright, so we put a battery in here, the big one for the lighted reticle. Now then we've got to add in batteries for the laser. Okay? And like most scopes, it doesn't come with an instruction manual, so you have to pretty much figure it out yourself. and I think I'll be able to get it all together here adequately. If I can get these batteries coming. Supposedly this laser has a 100-yard range. That's quite a distance. And considering I usually shoot 22 long rifle, that'll be about a maximum range for me to be shooting anything anyway. If we can get all these batteries out of here. I guess if I was smart, I'd had the batteries already mostly cut open. Alright, so we got 3 batteries here for the laser. We'll go ahead and stack them in here. 1, 2, 3. These are the, well, I don't know what the number is. I already tore it open before I noticed. But it's written on the battery. They're probably pretty standard. Alright, so, yeah, there's the laser. I guess you guys can see it, huh? Yeah. Now that we've got the laser in it, we've got the reticle batteries in. What I need to do is to set up a couple of stands here and stick this thing on a rifle. So y'all just take a sip of coffee and I'll have it all set up. I haven't previously shown this rifle in a video. It's a Marlin 60, and that's what we're going to mount this scope on. It's the one rifle here that doesn't have a scope. Well, actually I've got another that doesn't have a scope also, but this one doesn't have a scope, and this guy fits a Picatinny or Weaver type rail, this mount that comes on it, and that's a little bit too big for the 22 there. So we're going to remove the mount from the bottom of the scope, and it's screwed down good and tight. Alright, let's get this guy here. Get these fellas off and put on a smaller mount, one that fits the 22 size. Alright, and use the same 2 mounting screws. Alright, that's on good and tight. I'm going to turn him over, set him up here on the rail, and screw it down. It's got 2 little, I'll put it over here in a minute and show you the mounting tightened down screws, scope mount. I got to move it forward a little. I'm going to have to do a little something I think to make it tighter. But there's what it looks like when you tighten it down on the rail. And then you got, but right now that rail's a little bit loose, so I may have to get my own scope mount. I'll be back. Okay, I made a little change there. I discovered that on the mount that I used, you can see it's got this one piece here that's loose. Well, it was upside down on the other one, so that the longer part of the thing was biting on the top instead of the bottom. So I did 180 on that, and then because I think I should put the knobs over here instead of on the other side where the bolt is at, I turned the whole thing 180. And now that I've got my stuff all together, we've got it mounted, and the next little trick will be to do a preliminary sighting in with number 1 with my bore sight, and then we'll compare the laser and see what we can do about you know, sighting it in. So be back just a second. My regular viewers have seen this little guy here. He pokes down in the bore, and it's got a little laser in it that turns on when I turn it there. And this is sort of preliminary. They say you can get on paper with this, and I say, well, at least you can get close to the paper with it, and that's a big help in itself. So let me get the right little end on it, because that's obviously for a 45, and then we'll try and sight this thing in. Alright, I got the camera on a new tripod that I haven't used a lot, and I just realized I had the camera sitting a little bit leaned over, which is the second video that I've done with it mounted wrong on the tripod. Oh well. Anyway, let's turn on the laser for sighting this thing in. Alright. Oops, sorry about hitting the camera, but you can see the laser back there on the wall. I'll move it over so it's better in view there. Alright, I'm going handheld here for a second because I come across something that I haven't seen on a scope before. Inside here you've got a little knob you can turn to raise and lower it, and it goes quite a ways. But this outside knob right here, see if I get enough light to shine on it. This outside knob here, he's numbered from 1 to 5, and he moves about 1 turn. So I would say you can sort of fine tune with that, but you're going to have to do the real work with this guy right here on top. The windage adjustment is pretty normal. Okay, so the laser is even simpler than I thought. The small Allen wrench they give you will move that dot around. You can see it moving back and forth. And see if I can take it down. And there we go. Pretty much merged the two lasers together. So I guess that sort of finishes up the bore sighting, and now we can take it to the range and see what we can do about getting it all lined up there. Okay, so here's a look through the scope with a lighted reticle. I'll turn it the other way, turns it off, and you can see the red dot down there from the laser, and it's pretty well right on with the reticle. And we get it just brighter and brighter. Now, I don't know how much of that you could want, but then you get into the green and cycle through. Supposedly this laser is good for 100 yards. We'll find out when we go to the range. I guess a little more handheld would be in order. Here's the, I think this is the windage screw for the laser, and down here is the elevation, or vice versa. One or the other. You'll know when you turn them. And here's where you set the power of the scope, and then back here you can adjust it for your eye. So I got all this stuff covered up there now, and let's go to the range and check her out. Before we take off to the range, I think it'd be appropriate for me to just go ahead and read the spec sheet on this thing. And the reticle type is mil dot. Reticle color is of course green and red, which you've seen. Magnification is 2.5 to 10 times. The objective lens diameter is 40 millimeter. The exit pupil diameter is 13.3 to 4.4 millimeter. The eye relief is 69 millimeters. The field of view at 100 yards is 34.86 feet. The diopter adjustment is +3 to -3. The MOA adjustment, 1 click is 1/4 of an inch. It would be, I suppose, at 100 yards. Battery types is CR2032 and AG13. And they claim the battery life is 150 hours, 5 hours on the laser. The lens coating says multi-coated, waterproof yes, shockproof yes, and the weight of the thing is 26.4 ounces. This little guy right here, this outside knob for the elevation, that's a bullet drop compensator. You set it, you're supposed to zero the scope at 100 yards with this set on 1, which of course corresponds to 100 yards, and then it goes up to 500 yards. Well, unfortunately for me, the bullet this compensates for is a .223, and A 223 is probably, from what I could tell looking at the trajectory chart, it's got a pretty well flat trajectory out it to 100 yards, and it goes way out there before it drops a whole lot. So it's way out of the class of 22 caliber. So that particular adjustment won't help me a whole lot. Now, underneath the cap there is the regular adjustment for your elevation. This is for your windage, of course. And out here is where you set the magnification, and of course you've got your laser here with the on button, and over here is where you adjust it. Alright, all that's taken care of. Now we can actually go to the range. Alright, 1022 regular bulk ammo at 25 yards. Let's see what we get. Well, that's way high. That looks pretty well into the bullseye, but I've got another target there to play with, and I'm going to shoot it up too. Alright, so let's move to the 50-yard target and see what we can do. Alright, I was shooting a little bit to the left on the 25-yard target, so I ought to start off shooting a whole lot to the left on the 50-yard target, and I'll kind of zero it in. Yeah, a little bit to the left. I'll do one more click down, and we went maybe a click too far. I think that's looking pretty good right there. I need to raise this gun rest up just a tiny bit. So there's 10 rounds into that one. I'm not sure if it's perfect, but we'll perfect it a little more on the other target, and then I'm going to try to put up a 100-yard target just to see. Alright, the oblong, sort of oval-looking target to the right, that's the object of my affections right now. Who knows what would hit at 100 yards? If I'll even know, because I didn't remember to bring the spotting scope. I think it was at 6 o'clock, about 6 inches down below the bullseye. So I'm going to turn this yardage adjuster and try another shot, see what it does. Looks like that brought it up. I'm going to turn it again. And I see that brought it up again. So undoubtedly, let's turn it one more time and see what we see. Alright, I could move just a little bit left, I think. Alright, let's turn this bullet compensating dial all the way to 5. That's the last adjustment. Alright, that's 10 rounds into that little bugger. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to do another 10. I think this time I'm going to turn the bullet drop compensator all the way back down to 1, and then I'll fire it, and then I'll move it up a notch, and then I'll fire it. And I'm going to aim a bit left of the bullseye so I can get a different, crack of bullets. There's 1, I'm going to 2. I'll move to 3. And 4. And then 5. Alright, so that was very interesting to use the bullet drop compensator. I didn't adjust the crosshairs themselves any on the 100 yards. I just used the bullet drop compensator to raise each round a little higher up on the target. So we'll retrieve the targets and continue this on at the house. Alright, so I stuck my target on top of somebody else's target, so the stuff at the top, I'm not sure whether it'll be mine or not. My target stops right here. But as you can see, the first 2 shots I took at it at 100 yards. I didn't adjust the crosshairs. And then I started turning the bullet compensator. And you can see where it tracked right up there. Alright. And then the second time around, when I used just the bullet compensator and I was aimed at right about here, the second string of shots. Here was where I had it set it on 1. I moved it to 2. This is probably 3. And maybe this is 4 or 5 up there. So you can compensate for a 100-yard target without actually turning your crosshairs. You can just turn the little bullet drop compensator, which I think is pretty handy. And we'll look over the bullet drop compensator when we get to the house. And let me dig up my other targets. I got to clean up behind myself here. Alright, this is my darn shaky thing. This is my 10-yard target. I discovered I was shooting really high. I started up here and just walked it down as I adjusted the crosshairs. Then I moved to 25 yards. This is my first 25-yard target. And once again, I walked it downwards, to get to the bullseye. And then this is the last 25 round target. It was shooting a pretty good group. And I knew I was shooting a little bit to the left, but I didn't want to adjust that until I got to the 50-yard targets. So let me get my 50-yard targets. They're laying here too. Alright, this is the first 50-yard target where I was trying to figure out whether I wanted to go right or left or up or down. And this is the second 50-yard target. And I was still shooting a little to the left, but I think I had it zeroed in fairly good there, at least in one MOA of squirrel, as 22 Pointer calls it. So I would guess overall that shooting at those targets, I was able to hit them with that scope. So that's a good sign, I suppose. We'll discuss this further when we get back to the house. That project is still waiting. Alright, so this is an interesting object right here. This is the bullet drop compensator, and it's what I was using out there on the 100-yard target. I started off with it set on 1 there, and then I turned it to 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and the 4 and 5 of course were too high for the place I was shooting for the 100 yards, but it really did work with a 22 caliber. Now this scope is, according to what I could find, is designed for a 223, and a 223 is about 10 times as powerful as a 22 long rifle. They got the same diameter projectile, just a whole lot more power behind it. But it was interesting to see that the bullet drop compensator, I didn't have to go and touch the elevation at all, you know, inside there. So when I go back to 1, it's still zeroed just right for 50 yards. So I've never had a gun with a compensator like that, or a rifle rather, with a bullet drop compensator, and it was interesting. The laser over here on the side, I'm not allowed to shoot at night, you know, in the dark out there at the range, so it didn't get any testing, you know, as a sighting device. You can't see the laser in the daytime, so I'm moving the camera around, but you can't see the laser in the daytime, so it's sort of, you know, no good in the daytime to using it at night. Well, if you were, say, around sundown where you could see a good outline of what you were shooting at, to know what you were shooting at, well then the laser could probably be a good thing up and around the 50 yard or 25 yard or even 15 yard range. It could give you a spot to figure is on your target. Like I said, I didn't test the laser because all my stuff was in the daylight. I took it out at night in the backyard, you know, well after sundown, and I could see the laser in the scope, but I couldn't make out too good any of the things that it was shining on. So you can take that or leave it. Alright, so in summarizing what we saw here, this fits a Weaver or a Picatinny rail, and it's the one that I used right here. This is the Marlin special rail, I guess, and it's got the regular 1022 dovetail, and then below it, I tightened that down tighter than I thought. It's the regular 1022 type or 22 caliber type dovetail, and below it's got the bigger rail, and I guess you could call it a Ruger Weaver type. This little scope mount here wouldn't come down tight on the Marlin 60 when it was put together right. I turned this piece over thinking the factory would put it on upside down, because when I tightened it down it did hold on the Marlin, but then when I looked through the Marlin I felt like the scope was leaning to the right a little bit, so undoubtedly they had this on right at the factory, and it does fit the Ruger just fine, and the big mount fits the Ruger, so I can't fault that. That's why the Marlin 60 dropped out of the whole thing, is because it simply, I couldn't get the scope properly mounted on it. I don't know what kind of thing you'd have to do to the Marlin 60. I guess really if you had a Marlin 60, you could take this plate off and file or machine this surface right here. I'll show you what surface I'm talking about. I don't know what you'd have to unscrew those little studs out of there or push them out. But this surface here, if you machined it down a little bit thinner, got it down thinner, it would attach to the Marlin 60. So I guess all in all, if you've been hunting with a 3 to 9 power scope, you like that, well then this 2 to 10 scope would do the job for you. It's as near as I can tell from the instruction manual I found online, it's designed for a 223, and lots of people have got those. If you like short scopes and 223s, it's worth a try. You ain't got much to lose because it's not an expensive scope. Alright, let's get on with winding things up here with Bubba or Ole or somebody. Well, it seems like Bubba and Cooter was putting a roof on the house, nailing on shingles. And so old Bubba walked around and looked, and Cooter was throwing away half the nails. So Bubba says, Cooter, he says, what the heck you doing that for? Cooter says, well, half these nails has got the head on the wrong end. And Bubba said, Cooter, you ignorant person. He says, you're just as dumb. He says, those nails are for the other side of the roof. Well, that's all, folks. Y'all try to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Leave a comment if you got something to say. And above all, remember, keep on keeping on. Bye now.